So how many of you are fired up right now? Can it get any better? Do you think it can get any better? I think it can get better. We're going to talk about leadership development and the role that it plays and some of the things you do, but if you turn right into your 90-day game plan, all of this information is right here. So don't think you need to write down every single thing that's mentioned or said. In fact, I think Jim and Kathy have done a spectacular job at putting this together. It's one of the greatest training tools that we've seen in network marketing. That being said, I want you to understand something. A lot of times it's not the words you say. It is not the words that you say. It's the essence of the spirit that comes out of you and what you believe that people pick up on. So can you believe more than the next person? Because that's what it really boils down to. Can you believe more than the next person? And I believe before we're finished today, I believe that we're all going to believe a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that before you leave today, your hair is going to be on fire. Because what we're going to share with you today is going to blow your mind. Because one of the things that we've been very good at is forecasting. And some of the interesting things that have been happening is that the forecasting that we've been bringing has been exactly right on. When you see those charts in our growth, we had already made those charts. We don't even have to change the charts we made before we hit those numbers. So I want you to be prepared because we're going to bring more forecasting today that's going to blow all of our minds.
Mm-hmm. And it's nothing specific to us. It's not hard to do. All you really do is need to listen to Jim and Kathy Coover when they speak. It's really all you need to do. Just be a good student, close your mouth, listen to what they say, and some things get inside of you that are undeniable. That really, they're just undeniable. And it all starts from the top. It all starts from Jim and Kathy Coover. And I want to thank you guys in front of everybody because you're spectacular, you're phenomenal. You've got some of the biggest hearts of any people that Patty and I have ever met, and we're thankful
Absolutely.
for you changing our lives.
Absolutely.
Changing it dramatically. So, leadership development. Where does it start? It starts off by what? Developing your team. You have to develop a team. Network marketing is not done with you just developing this belief and understanding the opportunity that you have. You have to start off by developing a team. And so how do you start to develop a team? Really, how do you start to develop a team?
Well, you know what? I believe that it starts in your home. I believe that you're working, and some of your spouses may not be with you on this just yet. And I always say the way to change that is to make it happen, because money does turn their heads. It is true. So if any of your spouses aren't with you on this opportunity right now, just work harder. Don't ask them to do it, because the fastest way you can get them to go away from doing it is to badger them about it. But if you make it happen, forget about it. They'll turn their heads. And some of the first people
Well, before we do that, we should tell them what happened to us 7 years ago.
What happened?
We weren't in a good spot. We weren't in a good spot. You want to hear a little bit of our story? All right, we'll tell it to you. We're not ashamed. Although at one point of our lives, we had pride on us when we were in our mid-20s where we wouldn't tell this story.
Well, it's actually twofold, because it is true. I mean, the bill collectors, they ring your phone, ding-a-ling-a. We had that happen to us. But I'm telling you, we were in a bad way. But we also didn't want to profess, and we're not going to share this testimony to give you permission to talk this way. Because there is power in our words. So we don't want to share this. And if you're in a bad spot, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands of who falls into this category. But we were $160,000 in credit card debt upon introduction to Isagenix. So we've been together for 32 years, but we've had our ups and we've had our downs, and we've made a lot of money and we've lost it. We've made a lot of money and we've gone bankrupt. And so we know what it's like for the bill collectors to ring our phone. And when we were introduced to Isagenix through, we had started a little business of coaching. I was writing a book in the industry. It's available actually in the store that I was in the final edit of. We had a coaching client that paid our company for coaching. And Bruce and Chris Waller are probably here. Are they here? Somewhere, there's got to be here. Bruce and Chris, anyway, they paid our company for coaching. And when I went in to coach them, and we literally, with the success we've had in the industry over the past 26 years, we had been involved with this, it's actually going on 27 years. We had been involved with this 20 years at the time. A lot of people were calling us. People were prospecting us and propositioning us and asking us to fly all over to look at this or look at that opportunity.
But something happened. Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
Something happened during the 17 years prior to our introduction to Isagenix, and that was we grew to hate multi-level marketing. We just don't like it. And today I can tell you the same thing. We hate multi-level marketing, and some of you are probably scratching your head. What are you doing on that stage? Because we don't consider this multi-level marketing. After all the years of research and after looking at various companies and their compensation plans and what they've done, we started to realize that there was one major theme in how they paid people. And the major theme was they have what we call generational restrictions in their compensation plan, which means you had to qualify to capture your initial word of mouth down various levels. And if you don't hit these qualifications, you don't hit the levels. The problem was, even when you maxed out, you all know that term, their compensation plan, they would only pay you down a certain amount of generations or levels, thus being called multi-level. Everybody get that? So there is a big distinction between multi-level marketing and network marketing. And we believe that multi-level marketing is not the answer to total freedom. Look, we're all excited and fired up about initiating word of mouth. We believe that because of today and the information age infrastructure that's upon us, we can actually take a message, pull out a device like this out of our pocket, and start a thread that'll reach 1 million people within 48 hours, right? You know that wasn't the way it was back in 1990, but that's the way it is today. But even if you have this information age infrastructure that's in place right now, and if you have a multi-level marketing compensation plan, you still have generational restrictions. And so when people say, what makes Isagenix different than these other companies, the answer is very simple. It's a lot of different dynamics. From a compensation standpoint, we don't have generations. We don't have levels. It doesn't matter if a person comes in 2 people removed from you, 2,200, 2,000, 200,000. They're either on your left side or your right side. And you capture all that volume until you're paid on it. How cool is that? You want to know what's even cooler? What's even cooler is we had the opportunity to speak with some of the top network marketing professionals in the globe, and they don't get that. You do. You do. That gives you an advantage over all the people who are considered some of the top people in this industry, and that's exciting.
It is exciting. And so when I went in to look at the coaching client's back office, because he gave me permission to do that, and look at Isagenix, after we've literally seen what I thought was every company out there, I had never heard of Isagenix. And when I looked at it, I knew every piece of the puzzle was in place. Every piece of the puzzle was in place. We had the company, we had the owners. They had the background in the industry that was so important. It's what we were looking for. Jim's done this before. Kathy's been in the field. This is so important. Number 2, the products needed to be consumable. Unique is a bonus factor. Can't get this anywhere else. Where can you get this? This is the highest quality, most absorbable nutrition on the face of the planet, coupled with the very necessary element of cleansing cellularly. There's nothing out there that comes close. The third criteria, and then of course, if it's emotional, that's the third criteria of products. So you have products that are consumable, unique, but emotional. Who in here has had an emotional response to these products? It's amazing. And so then the third criteria is the compensation plan, which Herbie was just speaking about. So lucrative. You set the price tag. Our goals are out through the roof. And any one of us are in here can out earn us. Is that amazing? And then the fourth criteria is training and support, which second to none. This 90-day game plan with the proven step-by-step methods are right there. And then, of course, fifthly is timing, which we'll hit on a little bit later on.
Well, the timing is important. The timing is it was the exciting thing for us besides the compensation plan and then understanding who these 2 people were in the front row. That meant a big deal to us. It was a big deal for us because we knew company owners and what their backgrounds were and people who had tremendous success in network marketing, and they decided to start a network marketing business, but those businesses never grew to do what they thought they were going to do because they were missing a critical element in that they didn't have a corporate background. Jim Cooper has a phenomenal corporate background. He's taken a company from 0 to $1 billion in 27 months, if you haven't noticed that, or if you didn't know that. Once I heard that, I said, these are the people I want to align with. And so we've got a perfect 10 in all those categories. And so we got all fired up, long story short, and so we started to realize in order to do this, we need to develop a team. And so we started to figure out, we've got to get team members. How many of you feel that same way? You got to get team members. You got to start someplace. And so, knowing that, we'd like to introduce you to our first 5 team members. Wouldn't that be cool?
Can you believe they're still with us?
Our very first 5 team members, because that's where it all starts. You want to meet them?
Babe, let's bring them out. Let's bring them out, baby.
All right, please help us welcome to the stage.
Please help us welcome. Give a roaring thunder welcome to our first 5 team members.
Come on out. All right. Now wait a minute. You might think this is a funny thing, but this is not a funny thing. This is reality. If you're not willing to introduce your family to this business first, I don't think you understand what you have your hands on.
It's true.
And so this is, let me introduce him before you talk.
Yeah, this is Ryan.
It's Ryan, our oldest. She's 20 years old. Chelsea, 18 years old. Monique is 10. Aaron is 14. Daniel is 12. I'm sorry. Daniel's 13. I always kid him with that because he always corrects me. I'm 13. But
I just want to say, because a lot of people too, is important. A lot of people will ask me, we don't have time, there's a whole section to talk about how you do it around your kids, because minus 7 years, we've been in Isagenix for 7 years, so we were homeschooling all five of them homeschooled in a financial mess and finding ourselves, wondering, we had no money, we had no time. We came in with a coaching client, so we had 2 full teams to build. We didn't have a following. We started with the parents of kids I was coaching basketball. We started with the neighbors, and of course family, sisters, brothers. My sister Kathy and her husband Frank are in the front row. Isagenix is 114th millionaires with Isagenix.
You've got to do this because Jim and Kathy call Isagenix a legacy company. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and it's going to get us very wound up and fired up. But if it's a legacy company, there's only really one thing I can promise everybody in this room. It's hard to even say it, but we will pass. And so what happens when you build a legacy? Where do you pass it to? You pass it to your family. You pass it to the people you love. You pass it on, and hopefully you get instilled in these little ones exactly what this business is about. I'm confident that these people right here can go out and build a dynasty with or without Herb and Patty Cepeda.
Again. Before we allow them to go back down to their seats and sit down and enjoy this, because you guys want to sit down by now, right? The thing about it is, it's amazing. When you involve your family and you tell them and involve them in your goals, they will stand with you when you're on the phone. They will encourage you. There was one day, what did we increase by 60 cycles? You want to know why we did? I said one of them said this to me. We were driving from New York City upstate, and one of them said, "You're not." I think it was 5-star. You're a 6-star. You're not a 6-star yet. Like this. I was like, or whatever it was. And I thought to myself, that's it. I got
this was on a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. And we were 45 cycles shy of that next mark, and they make a comment like that. So do you think that gets you driven? I mean, really, it got us driven. We were like, we'll show these kids.
So I said to Herbie, I says, we're doing it. He said, and he's driving. Got the minivan, he's driving the minivan. We don't have it anymore. But anyway, so he's driving the minivan. And he says, yeah, okay. I said, no, we're going to hit it. He says, no, I know we are. I know, today. It's Sunday. We're going to do it today. By midnight, we're going to do it. And we did it.
So I went like this first. I went, you want to do it today? It's like 3:30 in the afternoon. We're driving up the New York State Thruway. We don't even have phones with charges on it, and you want to do it today.
This is a good point,
45 cycles.
His kind of like that, we're going to do it, came from that point to how can I? Instead of can I, the question mark is how can I? And of course, he is so smart. I love my husband. He is so smart that he comes up, we devised this whole plan, and we helped people. Said, listen, we'll go do presentations for people, but we're not gonna go waste our breath. When we came in $160,000 in debt, and he said, after I badgered him, I won't get into the long, drawn out story, several times I said, this is the next multi-billion-dollar-a-year company. We're not gonna miss it. That he said, all right, well, we gotta try some products. And I went into the office and I ordered everything the company had to offer because I don't like sales. So I ordered one of everything or whatever. It came to about $1,400. And he hit the ceiling. I said, listen, calm down. I said, if it doesn't taste good and it doesn't do what it says it's gonna do, then we'll send it back, no risk. Right?
And well, I hit the ceiling because we were $160,000 in credit card debt. I said, where did you get $1,400?
The credit card. Credit card had limit.
She said, I just put it on top of the $160,000.
No, and then it gets better. Because when I grabbed, everything came in and it all tasted fantastic. I grabbed 2 bottles of Cleanse, went out to coach a basketball tournament. I was coaching up in AAU, and we won, by the way, the tournament over the weekend. And drank 2 bottles of Cleanse in 2 days. So we all know in here you're not supposed to do that. And I came home and I said to him, I came home clean.
Very clean. Very clean.
And I said to him right in his face, I said, we're gonna make millions with this company. Because I couldn't believe how I felt. And that's when he wanted to do it too, and the rest was history. The kids, right? Isn't it amazing? It's so exciting. But one last thing.
You want to release them?
No, one last thing. Then I had to call everybody. I had to call everybody. So I started making a list of everyone we knew. And so, like, over 80 names. And this is just what I did. And over 80, so on Tuesday, we're having everybody come to the house. Listen, I found something. This company's set to go from small to big real fast. I'm having a few select people over on Tuesday, 7:50, grab a pen. What is it? That's why you're coming. So less than 20 showed up. Of over 80 calls, less than 20 showed up. Probably should have quit then, right? I could have done that over the next year, but I did it fast. But before that happened, I'm not gonna waste my breath, which is I'm gonna wrap this story back around to talk about this with them and not have the package to put in their lap. So we ordered 5 at the third time, it was 30-day packs. 5 30-day packs we ordered. Overnighted them for an extra $100. Now I'm sharing this for a reason, because the day we decided to hit the next pin level and needed all those cycles, we reached out to our leaders and we says, look, we're not gonna come do a presentation for you if you don't have what you need to place in their lap to get them started. So the volume, we hit it that
day, and it's the cost of doing business.
Did somebody hear a bell?
It's a cost of doing business. Hey, can you congratulate these guys, because we're going to move on. Thank you. We love you. Go ahead.
So anyway, I'd like to thank them. I want to publicly thank them because I love you guys.
Love that song. Love that song. Okay. So now we got a little bit of a core group, right? We got her and I, and now we have 5 team members. But these 5 team members, they weren't exactly qualified age-wise to actually do this business, so we had to go get some different team members. And so we're gonna give you an example of what happened to us, a real live example of what happened to us and how we actually built a team. And so we always look at our first business center and say to ourselves, that first business center was really a training ground for us. It really became a training ground for us. It became a matter of, max it out and then go on to, the clicker's not working, so if you can just go next, appreciate that. We just needed to find new people to do this with, and so we went on an adventure and we went on a search. And we started to identify some people, actually, backwards. There you go.
Back. Yeah, there you go.
We started to identify some people.
Yeah, I would introduce you to Susan Miller. She's one of the first calls that I made because we knew her in a former company where we were what's called Blue Diamonds with a different company that, by the way, we walked away from because the compensation plan doesn't duplicate. One day I woke up, I says, babe, we're making some money, but nobody else is. And I cannot speak out of integrity and tell you you can do something if in fact you can't. And so we left that, and she also had reached that level as well. So it was one of those calls where you pick up the phone, you put the phone back down, and you pick up the phone, and then you put the phone back down. Well, I finally called her, and she, I probably quickly offered to send her some products onto the existing credit card debt. We never did this. We don't even encourage people to do this, but sent her some product that she subsequently, she tells me later, she threw away.
And the story for her was, we're going to start a new business center, and we want you to help us run this new business center. And so we personally enrolled Susan Miller, and then we found another young lady. This lady is spectacular, and she's probably in the audience someplace. Her name is Tracy Taylor. Tracy Taylor. It's interesting because we went to a diner, long story short, and the waitress, 18-year-old young girl, and Patty talks to the waitress because she talks to everybody. And I'm like, she's 18, she's serving coffee. And Patty, you never know. Turns out she comes over to our house with her mother, who is Tracy Taylor. Little did we know, Tracy Taylor was one of the elite coaches for the Robert Kiyosaki organization. Mm-hmm. And so we said, well, Tracy Taylor would be a good combination for Susan Miller. So now we're building a lineage here. And then we progress on.
And I'll say, too, that Tracy Taylor came to prospect me into what she was in. Come into my web. All right, so she's here now. The next person is somebody that Herbie ran into at the pool in our neighborhood. And she had 3 small children. And her husband does very well, and she was teaching swim lessons with the kids.
Next slide.
Turned her down.
Next, yeah, there
and
you go.
Jessica Johnson.
Where's Jessica Johnson? Quick story with Jessica Johnson. Now watch what the dynamics that are happening here, because something starts to happen after these three people. Patty and I personally enroll each and every single one of these. Jessica Johnson, I met her when I moved to South Carolina. At our gathering in our community, they do gatherings. You go to the pool, the kids swim, you get to say hi, eat hamburgers and hot dogs and all that stuff. And so Jessica's there, and I'm like, look at this woman with 3 small children. She's dynamic, and so we tell her about it. Shoots me down. Literally, no, come on, it's like one of those things. I'm not ready. I got kids. I'm a real mom. My husband does well. Blah 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 blah. All right. 18 months goes by, we see her, we run into her, we never say a word to her again. Not a word. You want to know why? Because we have the gold, guys. We have the gold.
Yes.
If she doesn't want it, that's her fault.
Tell them what she said, though. She says to them, I know nobody's heard this before, how's that thing going?
Oh, yes.
Who's heard that before?
So I bump into her after getting a haircut, and I come out of 18 months later, come out of getting a haircut, she's there, at the ice cream store with her 3 kids, eating ice cream. Yes, Jessica Johnson eats ice cream. And she says, oh, hi, how's your thing going? I'm like, my thing? I'm like, you mean our business? Yeah, oh yeah, Isogenics, how's it going? I'm like, you don't want to know. And she says, how many people came in that would have been on my team? I'm like, Jessica, you don't want to know that. It's only been 18 months. She goes, no, how many people? I said, 8,000. You know what's special about Jessica Johnson? What's special about her is she didn't say, I missed it. It's gone. Instead, her first question to me was, is there still time? Is there still time? And then I said, you have no idea. So if you go to the next picture on that slide, then.
Woo! Johnny and Rachel.
Now keep in mind, we're developing a team now, right? And so they're all emerging on one line. So now, through Tracy Taylor and the beautiful Kelly Campbell, Johnny and Rachel Davis emerge. If you don't know Johnny and Rachel Davis' story, it's one of the most spectacular stories I've ever heard in Isogenics. Johnny literally died a year ago Christmas. He had a heart attack, cardiac arrest. His heart just gave out on Christmas Eve, and he died. And his beautiful wife was doing CPR. There they are right there in the front row. You go, baby. Doing CPR on him for 16 minutes. Johnny was without air for 16 minutes, oxygen. They said he'll never be the same. He's going to be a vegetable in there. And Johnny, stand up for a second. Can you put the camera on Johnny Davis for a second? Yeah, baby.
Rachel too.
Rachel, stand up. Girl. Rachel kept him alive.
You kept him alive.
You go, girl.
And they work this business. They work this business as a couple. They're a powerhouse. And then what happened was, next from there, we enrolled another couple, that couple that ended up bringing to the table somebody that many of you already know. She's in charge of Adoptogenics. We have Deanna Falchuk, another one. We're gonna come back to these guys and tell you how they did. But we wanna point this one thing out. What we did was, we stacked them. Because this is like on a leg, we're gonna build 2 legs, and they're all stacked. So we have Susan, Tracy, Jessica, Johnny, Rachel, Deanna, all stacked together. We connected them. So we're gonna talk about that today. We connected them because it frees our time up. So they became tight. They're so tight, and they help each other to grow the business.
And an important thing to notice too, 3 of them were personally enrolled, 2 of them were not. Nonetheless, we treat them as if they're personally enrolled because it doesn't matter in our compensation plan.
One thing that, the 4 PETs and the whole bonus pool and all that, do you know when we do our trainings, I don't allow anybody to talk about 4 PETs. I don't, because the thing is where it matters, I guess, but it doesn't matter. In my eyes, it doesn't matter. I don't want to hear about the 4 PETs. The reason being is just the way they calculate those bonus pools, which is fantastic. However, it doesn't matter if they're on our 28th or 1,000th PET. It doesn't matter where they come up. We work with everyone as if we personally enrolled them.
They all contribute to your residual income is
yes.
what you're saying. All
contribute
to your residual income. So we get these team members together. The next step is doing what? Coaching them. And what does coaching actually look like? What does coaching actually look like? And for many of you, coaching actually looks like this. This is all you know coaching to be. You know it to be the stereotypical sports program, basketball, football, baseball type of coaching where you gather. But in our business, it's completely different. Our business boils down to different dynamics and different ways to coach people. And so we believe, and if you follow through your 90-day game plan, that the #1 coaching tool you're going to have is a 3-way call. And what
Absolutely.
is it about it?
Well, the 3-way calls, and if you want to keep those coming, we'll just load this slide up. Because the key here is that 3 ways are our ticket to freedom. Because in this type of industry, you learn and earn at the same time. So you're learning and you're earning at the same time. Don't attempt to do this by yourself. The best place to be is to be the instructor, but sandwiched in between an instructor, becoming an instructor to instruct others. And the faster we can do this and teach you to do it, and then you can teach people, the faster your team grows and the faster you become free. So what happens with the 3-way calls is you're gonna be really hand-holding, but yet it's all about you helping them to enroll new team members, because that's what it boils down to.
And so you do 3-way calls. You do them for your team members. With every one of those people you saw, we've done 3-way calls with. And not only did we do 3-way calls with them, we listened to them do 3-way calls. If we needed them, we would get our people to have them validate the opportunity for us. It's the power of the tool. And the important part of the 3-way calls, do them. Just do them. Do not turn them away. Do not put them off. Do not say, I'll do it later, or I really don't want it. Push yourself to do them. Because as you push yourself to do these calls, you start to expose more people to what Isagenix is all about. Have your team members listen to you do a 3-way call. Get on the phone and listen to them do a 3-way call. Team up. I mean, every aspect of a 3-way call has to be done, and it must be done. Why? Because it's refining each other. That's
Absolutely.
what we're doing, we're refining each other. And stay positive all of the time when you're validating the opportunity for somebody else. Stay positive.
Absolutely, positive is so important. As a matter of fact, there is life and death in the power of the tongue. Just as a big ship is moved by a small little rudder, our tongues are so powerful. What we say about ourselves, the profession of our mouths, and who we're around, and who you're allowing to speak into your life. What are your goals? They must happen.
And
making millions with this company was a given. It was written down in Post-it notes all over the place. Eliminate negative self-talk. Like the word try. I said, write that down and put a big red X through try. We're not trying.
And you see the word accountability up there, and it's a way to keep yourself accountable. You have to keep yourself accountable to yourself before you can hold anybody accountable. You have to keep yourself accountable to yourself. And so Patty and I like to be fun. We like to smile, we like to goof around, but we're very serious about holding ourselves accountable and holding other team members accountable. And so we always ask ourselves, what's in that 90-day game plan? How do we keep accountability on our team? And it really boils down to being a dedicated accountability coach. And how do you become a dedicated accountability coach? It's very, very simple. You can actually use the tools that are available. And what are the tools? The tools are very simple. You've got, what did we just talk about? Three-way calling. What other tools do you recognize out there? Text messaging. How hard is it to send a text message? I get so sporadic and so occasional that when I have some downtime and I think of somebody that comes to my mind in our business, I might not have talked to them for weeks. I'll just say, hey, I'm thinking about you. That's it. Send them a text. You know what that does for the people on your team? Just to think about them. Because they hang up or they get the text and they go, wow, they're thinking about me.
Again, our goal in this industry has always been freedom. Freedom to be with each other. He's my best friend. I think God put us together at 18. And just freedom to be with our family. Guys, the freedom to throw kids on an airplane. Listen, this last January I lost my mom. Next month we had lost a dog. A few months later, another dog of ours got mauled. It was like I lost my baby. And then, I'm not saying this to be sad, but then my two oldest went away to college for the first time. And all of this is like, but to be able to say, okay, you guys, yeah, you can fly from college to the convention, fly all these kids out, and to be able to have that freedom. So you guys want to go on a cruise, we just go. Like Audrey Moss, one of the advantages that Audrey Moss had, she was our nanny. She lived in our house, practically. And so when we did things, she saw it, and I'd look at her, I said, can you get off? Can we take you? We needed the help, because to watch them while we went and played and did what we wanted to do too. So we would bring her places. Think about the conviction she could speak with. Think about when she would speak to, nobody could tell her this doesn't work. She was living it. And when she wanted to do hair, I told her in a nice way, I said, well, you're gonna be on your feet a lot, but I never pushed it. I know, I'm gonna be on my feet. Everybody knows Audrey with all her energy. I said, I have energy, I can be. I said, okay, and I never pushed it. See, if somebody tells you no, or they're not interested, or they don't know anybody, just agree with them. You're right, it could be the mayor, you're right. Don't tell anybody about this. Get them on the program. Focus on what they want. If they have a belly like this and they're telling you they want to take it for that belly off, or whatever the case may be, focus on that. We're all about talking about a business. The business is everything.
But when we talk about the business, we also point those 5 people we told you about. Everybody that stems from those 5 people use all of these tools. All of them. They text message, they meet the events, the weekly gatherings, all of them. And then what happens is they start to progress. And when people start to progress, you've got to celebrate them. You've got to celebrate them. Figure out a way to actually tell people, you know, you're doing a great job. You're doing a fantastic job. How do you celebrate a person's success? In this business, it's very simple. You send them cards, take them out to dinner, I don't know, give them a phone call, flowers, anything. Every time we have a rank advancement, we get flowers. Oh, flowers. We get beautiful flowers. They just show up on our doorstep, and there's from Jim and Kathy Coover and Eric saying, hey, we recognize what you're doing. Thanks for your hard work. Recognition is so key in our business. You know what they say about recognition? Babies cry for it and grown men die for it. Grown men die for it. And so recognition has to be given, and you have to be the causal factor recognizing the people on your team. So after recognition is done, what do? You go back and you do it again. You set up your calendar.
Yeah, and yes, and you never get in the habit of not meeting together. to egg each other on, to edify each other, to move each other forward. Because what we're doing is so crucial to keep each other fired up. And so we would gather every week, and there's gatherings like this that helps put into people and instill a belief. The company has such it is so wonderful to align with the beliefs and the values and the family and the ability to set people free physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, and relationally. Do you know how many people are out there are hurting? They're hurting. They don't have anybody to hang out with. They're afraid. People, one day we were walking through the airport, and we're walking and we're having a good time, and Herbie says, "Patty, I just love people." I said, "I know, I love people." If we could love people and not care about yourself, because it's not about you, it's about who can you help today. And so getting together every single day, getting on your planner and encouraging people to get to the events. Make it happen yourself. Become the leader. Write down the attributes of a leader that you want. What are some of the attributes that you see in the leaders that you've seen on stage? I mean, with the likes of all the people that spoke here. You think about the attributes that you see in a leader. The passion, the fire, the integrity, the enthusiasm, the belief, all of those things. Write it down and claim it and proclaim it and declare it over yourself. And then watch your business explode. Because when I was introduced to this industry back when we were in our early 20s, with a different company that we ended up walking away from at a very high pin level because the compensation plan wasn't duplicating. You can't do something with lack of integrity. I cannot. And so I'm going to tell you, when we were introduced to this industry, I said to the guy who became our mentor, "Tell me what to do and I will do it." And I meant it. Do you mean it? Or you just come to these, or you just come to the events? Do you just get on the training calls? Do you just listen to the calls? What do you do with the information? Because there's a place that you're learning, but it's not until you do it that you own it. So I want to encourage everybody that you take the action today, calling forth those things that are not as though they were.
And when she says take action today, every single day, how many three-way calls are you going to do? How many follow-up calls are you going to do? How many events are you going to go to? Who are you going to bring to the events? Everything that you're reading up there, it's daily activities towards the attainment of the written goals, not once a month activities, not once a week activities. They are daily activities that you do every single day. And once you start your daily activities, you can certainly transition to monthly activities. And what are you going to do on a monthly basis? This is all part of goal setting. And how will you focus your time? Where is your time going to be spent? Like really, where is your time going to be spent? And I think one of the most fascinating things I read in this 90-day game plan was Kathy Cooper's success guide, her keys to success. You want to know the simplicity of what she says? Simplicity of what she says is spend 80% of your time doing the things that are going to be most profitable for you. Prospecting, presenting, and enrolling.
People ask me, well, how do you, and hold the kids thing and everything we do. We do a call every Thursday morning, by the way. And we'd be more than happy to give that number out to everybody. But that call, we teach such valuable information, and a lot of it is how to involve the family. Because we all have families. And for you young people that don't have families yet, doesn't matter, you're going to be enrolling people who do, so don't check out.
So how cool is this? Do you know that this is probably one of the most direct instructions for you to have success in Isagenix? Right here. Spend 80% of your time prospecting, presenting, and enrolling. Because how much percent of time do you have when it comes to your business? How much percent of time do we all have? 100%. So listen to this. You put this all together, right? And you start to develop your team, and you teach them all these things. Guess what happens? They start to succeed. And when they succeed, you succeed. And so what happens is they start to progress in rank. Susan Miller, now a 6-star Golden Circle. Tracy Taylor, it's a 1-star Golden Circle. Jessica Johnston,
hello,
just hit 8-star Golden Circle last night.
A Max
Phenomenal
Center.
story. Phenomenal story. She woke up yesterday real quick. She woke up yesterday with like 230 or 220 cycles. And you know what she did? She got on the phone with her team and said, team, we're this close. And guess what? They all bought in. They all bought into the concept of we're going to do a little extra more to get our leader to go because they share in the success. They share in her success. Johnny and Rachel Davis, 2-star Golden Circle. One thing I didn't say about Johnny and Rachel Davis, and I'm going to say it now. No question in my mind, they're going to be one of the top industry leaders, not only in Isagenix, but in the industry. They come to the table with 18 years of experience in a very hard multi-level marketing company that deals with legal services. Very hard. Very hard. You have to actually be smart to do something like that. That's why it's hard. Most of us are just not. And then the beautiful Deanna Falchuk and her husband, Mark.
Amazing.
Talking about a cause.
5-star.
I was backstage with Deanna and Mark and the Tweetmeyers, who both just won the President's Quest. And they have this unbelievable heart of serving. Unbelievable heart of serving and giving to adopted, now helping families adopt children that are in need. And they have a cause. They have a reason why, a why to propel them. And their whys and their hows have been talked about the last 2 days. The what's now is this. This is the what. What do we do when we leave here? When the lights go out today, and when we all say goodbye and we play the music and we dance, and you go on your airplane and you get home, what do you do? Really, what do you do? I suggest you take everything you've learned and take massive, massive action. Because we actually believe that Isagenix right now is the perfect storm of opportunity. We really do believe it. And we believe it's the perfect storm of opportunity because Isagenix is very well positioned in front of some major, major trends. The baby boomers aging, the markets that are growing. We're talking about $100 billion a year markets globally. The information age that's upon us right now. Most of you have one of these, right? Most of you have one of these? How many of you have specifically an iPhone? Raise your hand. An iPhone. Can you imagine life without it? Do you really recognize that it only was developed in 2007? And we can't imagine life without it. And it just came about in 2007. That's the speed of which this information age is really taking us over. And so you have the information age. Then what do you have? The rise of network marketing. Because of that information age, network marketing has come of age. It just has come of age. And so it is widely accepted globally. We validated over the course of the last 11 years what our opportunity is all about. Hasn't there been major validation? You want to know what we teach our teams on the weekly events? When we gather, when we do these opportunity overviews, do you want to hear what we tell them? Do you want to hear what really motivates the Cepeda Express to keep running? What's the fuel? I'll tell you what the fuel is. The fuel is casting in them things that are not as if they were. Casting in them things that are, speak forth those things that are not as if they were. Can you believe it to the point where it's not yet, but you're going to speak it into existence? Because the validation has already taken place. Think about it for a second. The last 11 years, thousands and thousands of people with unbelievable physiological transformations. But then you start to see this start to happen. This growth. From 2002 up until 2012, very impactful, insightful, it's a ton of information that can be gathered from those 10 years. You want to know what it is? Kathy mentioned it day one. Only 52 companies have ever hit 10 years old. Only 50 companies have ever hit 300 million. We're that 50th company. Only 5 of those 50 companies continue to grow in the United States. Only 1 of those 5 is not a multi-level marketing company. That's us. That's us. And then from 2013, what is 2013? I lose the numbers. 2013, 338 million. In 2014, 448 million. And then 2015 will come around. Well, 2012, 2013, 2014. The point is this. We're growing at a rapid pace right now.
It's crazy.
I mean, you lose track when you grow at $200 to $225 million a year. It's very easy to lose track, isn't it? Isn't it very easy to lose track?
But when you think about it, you think about the 120 millionaires that were created from the inception to now, and what we're about to do with the growth that's about to happen over the next 3 years.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm so fired up to tell you what we're about to tell you right now.
We can't even stand it in the house. It's
Listen, this is why we're so fired up. Think about this for a second. There's been something given to us. Like we recognize some information that you all have access to, and you're going to get it right now. How many of you recognize this? 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 Anybody recognize these? Most people don't. They don't know who Borek is, Natura, Belcorp, and Omniflam. But when you start to put them in the category of other companies, this is what you start to see. How many recognize that? How many of you recognize that? How many of you recognize that? Now we're starting to get someplace, because when you start to throw in those other companies that you don't recognize, what you start to figure out is that you're looking at the top 10 network or direct sales company in the world last year, 2014. Can you derive some information from that? You better believe it. You better believe it. All you have to do is recognize that, well, first of all, that's the order they exist. That's 1 through 10 for 2014. But here's where it starts to get very interesting. This is what starts to get me a little wound up. Look at the years that they started. The year in which they started. And if you do the calculation, you start to figure out we're talking about some very old established companies, right? Everybody with me still? Who's getting a little excited right now? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because when you look at their average age, you take out Avon, 128 years old, and you take out Nu Skin, 30 years old, and then you average the rest of the 8, you really start to figure out that the average age of these companies is 48 years old. We're 12. We're 12. This is the volume they did last year. That's the volume these companies did last year. And so, you know, I was listening to Zach yesterday, and you shared some information from Seth Godin's book about the tribe. It's called The Tribe. And he said something that, pow, pierced me. It's like I said to myself, we didn't practice that. You know what he said? He said the people in the first tribe, black and white tribe, they stay there. Why? Because nothing else is in their realm of possibility. Now almost a direct quote. Nothing else is in their realm of possibility. They can't think any differently. So I said to myself, what's in the realm of possibility? And here's what we figured out. Now, what I'm about to share with you is no reflection of what corporate has to, it's not them. They're laughing. It's not them. This is what Patty and I believe.
Oh yeah, although, yeah, I'll just throw in that every projection in this chart we just showed you, we didn't have to change our chart, guys.
It's the same.
It's like a divinely, go ahead. I'll just be quiet.
Stay focused.
Go ahead, you go ahead.
The average age of the top 10 network marketing companies globally last year was almost 48 years old. Do you know the newest one was what? Nu Skin International? Their numbers are public. That's easy to get their information. It took them about 25 years to hit $2 billion a year. So we started to ask ourselves, what's in the realm of possibility for Isagenix? Where can we go at our current growth rate? And it's pretty staggering, because at our current growth rate, at a continual growth rate, listen to this, of what we're about growing by right now, this is where we can be. Think about it for a second. Before you start to clap, really, don't clap. Let this get in you. This is not a rah-rah time. This is a time for something to get in you that burns deep inside of you, that continues to fuel you for the next 36 to 48 months. This is what this is designed to be. Because when we do that, how old are we going to be? We're 12 years old right now. How old are we going to be in 3 more years? 15. In 4 more years, 16. And that's at our current growth rate. And this is, how many people are in this? How many people are in this audience?
Some people are going to say,
how many people are in the audience?
Huh?
How many people are in the audience?
10,000, right?
Okay, so if there's 10,000 people, some of you are skeptical, aren't you? Please.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one that's a skeptic, am I?
What if?
So I knew the skeptics were going to be in here. I just knew it. And so I said, there's going to be people say, well, that's if you grow at the current rate. Well, what if we don't? And so we took the same numbers and started to figure out what it would be if we grew at even a lesser rate. 10% less than what we're going at right now. Still pretty significant, don't you think? I believe so. Jim Coover has a goal to be the biggest health and wellness company in the world. That means we have to become bigger than Johnson & Johnson. They do $70 billion a year. We can certainly believe for $3 to $4 to $5 billion a year. We can certainly believe for that. Now, here, fast, because we don't like doing things slow. Nobody in this room wants to do things slow. And so, good for the skeptics. There's still people that are still skeptical beyond measure. And they go, what if we don't grow by that amount either? We've taken that into consideration as well. And so we said, what if we grow by 10%, even less than that? We still hit $2.7 billion by 2018. 2018 means that we become 16 years old. We put ourselves in the top 6 network direct sales company globally in half the time that any of them have ever done it. Is that exciting?
And
is that exciting?
Harvey, can I just say something?
Yes.
And we will, because together we will. We'll call it forth. And here's the thing. If we created 122 millionaires, is that how many we have now? In this amount of time, how many more as we start to, even if we just triple the volume in the next couple of years, we're going to triple the millionaires. Understand, anyone in this room can grow their business at a rate that's so much faster than anybody's done it thus far.
And this is what we believe, and this is what we're going to instill in our team and push them not to quit.
This is going to be so big. I wish that I could give you a pill that you could drink with a glass of water. I wish I could take that pill, because I think it's bigger than what we see. And there are stories of people that haven't quit, like Betty Logren. When our coaching client, we came in with our coaching client and had 2 full teams to build. Betty Logren had a team with Bill and Kathy Helwig, company millionaires. So obviously that side of her business was exploded and had plenty of volume. And what happened was we came in with a coaching client on the other team and had 2 full teams to build, but what happened was Betty's income went from about $3,000, $4,000 a week to over $10,000 a week in about 10 months. And she was announced the company's 27th millionaire.
And Betty never quit. The point of that is Betty never quit. You guys have to be the Brock in that movie. You have to start off as being the Brock. You're the most influential person on your team right now. If you don't show leadership, they won't follow. Be the Brock and transition to the coach, because when you're the coach, you're going to scream and yell and push people to do things they don't want to do, because you know what's at the finish line for them, and you're going to change their lives. So we want to thank you all. We want to wish you the best of luck in Isagenix. Don't quit! Not now! Don't quit now!